If you have recently gone through a divorce or are in the process or thinking about it or trying to heal from divorce, you may have noticed lately all over social media that women are posting what they call glow ups of themselves after divorce. And in these pictures or videos, they look completely different. They've changed their physical appearance. Many of them have lost weight, changed their hair, put on amazing clothing, just look very happy and are talking about they just came out of a divorce and how wonderful it is. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about these glow ups because there's something that people aren't understanding. So, if you are going through the divorce process or about to heal from divorce or even about to go through divorce, this is really important for you to listen to so you can understand that these glow ups, although they look amazing and you look at them and you say, I want that, they may not be really all true or all real. How is that? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, a lot of these glow ups, in the glow ups, the women are putting themselves out there and talking about how they just got divorced and they're so happy. The majority of divorces in the United States are made by women. And so many women who have made the choice feel this sense of freedom right afterwards that they are now able to focus on themselves. They have this incredible sense of freedom that they may not have had for a long time. And so they go out there and they feel great. And it's just this kind of surge of feel good hormones. But here's the thing, if you don't do the work, if you don't do the deep dive that is necessary to heal, then even though you're putting on a pretty face and you may have lost weight, you may have new clothes, you may look amazing and you may feel amazing, the chances of that coming to an end abruptly at some point in the near future are very high. And here's why. When we heal, when we do the deep dive into the self, we truly learn how to become the best and highest version of ourself. And we're going to talk about how we do that. And we're going to talk about why it's important to focus on slow. Slow, I've created an acronym for slow, which really will help you stay focused on the healing process. And I promise you that if you do this deep dive, if you do this healing work, you will get to not only the change in physical appearance and the feeling amazing, but you also have a change within your emotions, a change within your spirit. So it's body, mind, spirit, not just the physical appearance. And all of that will come from doing the work. It will come naturally. And I know that when you get out of a marriage that was really difficult or didn't support you or whatever it, however it made you feel that you felt you had to leave it, when you get out of it, you want right away. I want what she has, right? I want to feel that. I want that. And it's so easy to pull yourself into that. You may feel good for a minute. You may have moved into your own place and think, "Wow, I'm on my own. I'm only taking care of myself right now." But here's why we need to focus on slow. So, let's take it apart a little bit. The S in slow stands for shift. And shift is what we do when we really start diving into this deep work. And the reason we dive into this deep work is because we learn who we are. We may not remember who we are as an individual because we were in this relationship, in this we, and now we're just a me. And so it takes time to get to know yourself again. It takes time to know what you want and what you need. And we don't just walk out of a marriage saying, I want this and I need this. I mean, we might do that. We might think we know what we want and need, but until we start diving deep into our own selves and what we contributed to the marriage that might need to be worked on. For example, many people bring patterns into a relationship or develop patterns within a relationship that when they leave that relationship, they only know how to function in that pattern, how to function in that story, but they obviously can't do that anymore, right? And so they need to know how to create the right patterns for themselves and the right stories for themselves so they can really attract into their lives what they truly want and need, what they truly desire. And the only way we can figure this out is not by becoming this pretty version of ourselves physically, but by really understanding who we are. So, shift really means jumping into this. And I know a lot of people might be watching this and they might understand this theory, but they might not want to do it because it's hard. So a lot of women will just choose not to and think that they can go out there and just put on that pretty face and that pretty dress and get validated, have their feelings validated. But here's the thing, when you do that, you are only going to attract, you're a magnet, right? And you will only attract the same person with a different name and a different face, even though you might look physically better, right? So in order to really attract those right partners to you, you need to know who you are. And that's why we do this work. And the L in slow stands for listening to your intuition or learning how to use your intuition, right? So we all have intuition. We all have a sense, right? Or a nudge. We might be walking down a street and feel this sense that someone's following us or watching us. We might um, jump into a car and have this sense that we're going to get in an accident. I mean, this happens to people all the time. But many of us who aren't engaged with our intuition, who aren't aware of it, don't listen to the signs, don't see the signs. And so, if you are not a naturally intuitive person, and even if you are, you need to learn to refine it as you heal. But if you are not a naturally intuitive person, the healing journey is the time for you to learn how to listen to your intuition because your intuition is going to guide you in so many ways as you go on this journey. And as you come out of this journey and maybe move into a space where you want to have a relationship with another person, right? So, first, you need to find the relationship with you, and your intuition is going to help you do that and learn some tips and tools to listen so that as you move through the process, you can start to trust it. Because when you trust your intuition, is when you tend to make the right choices for yourself. The O in slow is for open mind and open heart. Now, many of us, when we're in the throes of a relationship that no longer supports us, or in one in which we don't feel supported or we don't feel um, that we are connected anymore, and we've maybe tried therapy, we've tried all kinds of ways to make the relationship work, or maybe you just know intuitively that the relationship doesn't work for you anymore. And so we need to learn to have an open mind and listen to, again, that intuition, that guidance, but keep the mind open for ways that we can change the patterns and the stories that we create for ourselves. And within that, there's also opening the heart. And opening the heart is, I think, a part of everybody's healing journey. It was a huge part of mine because in the end of my marriage, I think I really closed my heart off to loving myself. And I clearly didn't love myself because I stayed in an unsupportive marriage for a long time. And even though I worked on that marriage for a year before I made that final decision to leave and worked together with my former spouse, I knew in the end it wasn't right for me because I had been doing a lot of work during that year. And so I was able to realize that I had to open my heart up. I had to work on that and work on my intuition and work on who I was going to be as this individual outside of the partnership. So it's really important to open the mind and the heart when we are going through the healing process. And the W in slow is for well being. So, well being encompasses many different realms of discovery, of self discovery. And one of them is realizing or looking at your support network and deciding who truly needs to be there and who may not need to be there. And I have podcasts dedicated to support networks, so I encourage you to check those out. But it's really important to vet your support network because sometimes there are people within that network, even these are people who love you, who may not be the right people to support you or may not be able to support you in the right ways. So, in that sense, we're going to need to learn boundary setting with these other people. We're going to need to learn boundary setting with the former spouse. If, for example, we still have children or we need to communicate with that former spouse. And we're going to need to learn how to set boundaries with ourselves. And that is huge because remember that we are going out there now as a me, We're no longer in that partnership, in that we. And so we need to set boundaries for ourselves to do the healing work, to make things happen, to make sure that we are loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And also within well being is making healthy choices, of course. And this means many things. It means what we put into our body, what we don't put into our body. It means moving our body, and it means writing in our journal and loving ourselves and learning how to really care for ourselves. And so there's so many ways we can do this. We can do this through just self-touch. We can do this through eye gazing. We can do this through tapping, right? We can do this through face yoga. We can do this through, oh my goodness, there's so many wonderful tools for healing. So please check those out in the podcast. We also want to learn to how to confront triggers, right? Because as we go through the healing process, just like as we go through life, there may be things that trigger us based on old patterns, based on old stories we used to tell ourselves, based on who we were during the marriage, during the years of the marriage that weren't so good, and the fear that we may have. And so we need to learn how to deal with those triggers. And all of these things fall under well-being. And so I want you, and I hope that you take this acronym SLOW and really put it to use, because it is the way to start the healing journey and help you break the old patterns, help you change the story, help you learn who you are, what you want, and what you need, and become the best and highest version of yourself so that you can do this healing work. And even more importantly, like I mentioned, once you love yourself, you are able to attract people into your life who will be able to love that version of you, the version who is healed, the version who has become her true self, right? In every respect of the word. And all of these glow ups, the glow up, the physical glow up, the emotional glow up, the spiritual glow up, this feeling of incredible happiness comes naturally as a result of doing the healing work. So there's no need to have to put on that pretty face and go out there and get validated without doing the healing work, because you're leaving so much on the table. And I want you to be happy. I want you to experience this transformation in healing and in becoming the best version of yourself, because I promise you, it is so well worth it. It is so worth the wait. So please do yourself the ultimate act of love, the ultimate deed you can do for yourself to love yourself and to heal is to glow up not just your physical appearance, but everything else, your body, your mind, and your spirit. And the only way you can do that is by taking it slow and going through this healing process. And that's what we're here for. And you're not alone.